It's the Michael Patrick Leahy Show, broadcasting live from downtown Nashville. Now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
Good morning, and welcome to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. We are indeed broadcasting live from our studios in downtown Nashville. It is Thursday morning, December 19th, 2024. That means it's time for the Morning Rundown, brought to you by the Glock Store. The Glock Store located just a couple miles from the airport here in Nashville. On the web at glockstore.com. That's glockstore.com. The place to go for Glock products and accessories. So here we go. Here's the Morning Rundown for Thursday, December 19th, 2024. Number one, the pork-filled 1,500-page continuing resolution that would fund the government from December 20th till the end of March just blew up in the face of Speaker Mike Johnson. Oh, my goodness. Thank you, Elon Musk, Donald Trump, JD Vance. The power of X. So when was it? Maybe yesterday about noon, 1 p.m. Elon Musk said this CR bill is terrible. It must be stopped. About an hour later, Trump and Vance came out and condemned it, and boom, it fell apart. Number two, the deadline before the government, quote, shuts down is now, I think, midnight tomorrow, Friday, December the 20th. Okay. Does the government really shut down? The answer, no, it doesn't. Is that such a bad thing? We'll see. Look, if it shuts down on December 20th, the new Congress is sworn in January 3rd, 2025. That's 2 weeks. So, okay. Can we survive 2 weeks? I think so. What's different in the new Congress? The Senate will be controlled by Republicans. That sounds pretty darn good. Okay. Let's go on now to, let's take a look at number three. Tom Homan, in an interview with Tucker Carlson, just blistered his former boss, current DHS Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas. It's just too good to be true, except it's delicious to listen to. Number four, we have a very, very weird story about that Madison, Wisconsin 15-year-old girl who killed a fellow student and a teacher at the Abundant Life Christian School in Madison on Monday before she killed herself. She was apparently collaborating online with a 20-year-old California man who wanted to, at the same time, simultaneously bomb a government building, apparently out in California. There's some court paperwork there where the judge basically ordered his guns taken away, and I think he's been under arrest, and there's all sorts of charges he's facing. He apparently admitted he talked to the FBI, that he'd been talking to her about this kind of collaboration. Weird. Number five, speaking of the Madison, Wisconsin shootings on Monday at the school by the 15-year-old girl who apparently hated everything and everybody, sounds of silence from the Madison, Wisconsin Police Department. They won't confirm the 6-page manifesto that we've talked about here, that it has been released, and there's plenty of information there that would indicate that it may be legitimate. Asterisk. The provenance is like everything in this case is weird, but we can get to that a little bit later. But the Madison, Wisconsin police, who I think by now know whether that's legitimate or not, they're not confirming it, which tends to me, in my mind, think, if they're not confirming it, but they're not denying that it's authentic, I think that sort of tells me whether it's authentic or not. Okay, and then also on that, the weirdness, they won't confirm that this 15-year-old girl, Natalie, what's her name? Rupnow? Yeah, Natalie Rupnow. They won't confirm that she was in some kind of psychological therapy. The Washington Post, of all outlets, apparently has a report that she was in therapy. But really, if you look at that, what was going on in that household? I mean, her parents were a mess. Each had multiple divorces, total instability. Her dad, she claimed in the purported manifesto, she claimed all her dad did was smoke weed, which, didn't lead to a great deal of respect. She claimed she manipulated and lied to him to get the gun. Asterisk. Okay. We'll see. Again, you don't know. But it's just a very weird, sad story. Number 6, Fani. Remember, you can't say Fanny. Fani Willis, the erstwhile district attorney in Fulton County who started the illegitimate phony cases against President Trump and the electors in Georgia, came out late last night. The Court of Appeals in Georgia State Court have disqualified her from the case because of the appearance of impropriety. Well, there was more than the appearance of impropriety, since she hired Loverboy, who knew nothing about this kind of a case. He was a traffic court attorney, right? What was his name? Nathan Wade. So there we go. That's a lot. That's a lot to talk about. That is the morning rundown for Thursday, December 19th, 2024. Now, the morning rundown is sponsored every day at this time by the Glock Store. I recently heard from my good friend Lenny McGill, the founder and CEO of the Glock Store. He said their Black Friday deal days were a huge success, and that included a big uptick in sales from the cities that get the Michael Patrick Leahy show. So thank you, Pittsburgh. Thank you, Philadelphia. Thank you, Atlanta, Memphis, every city in West Virginia that's got more than 10,000 people. We have a radio station there. And most cities in Virginia, as well as Nashville and Memphis. Not only do they at the glockstore.com, but do they always have every Glock in stock. They only stock the very best parts and accessories, including hard-to-find Glock factory parts like the Glock Performance Trigger. And they know they're the best because they personally test each and every one of these accessories. And if Lenny McGill doesn't like it, it does not get on the glockstore.com website, period. And if he really likes a product, he features that product on his incredible YouTube channel. Nearly 500,000 subscribers. That's pretty big. Nearly 1,000 videos. 99% thumbs up ratings. If you're not a fan yet, go to youtube.com/@Glockstore, and you soon will be. That's youtube.com/@Glockstore, and that's, of course, the @ I'm proud Lenny McGill is a friend and sponsor. Don't forget, go to glockstore.com, sign up for their latest weekly sales letters. You can get a link to the latest Lenny McGill video every Wednesday afternoon. Visit glockstore.com today. You'll be glad you did, and so will I. Okay, let's go back. We got to go back to this ridiculous continuing resolution. Our own Congressman Andy Ogles from the 5th Congressional District was unimpressed with it. Here we go. Clip 1, Andy Ogles.
Hey guys, Congressman Andy Ogles here, and welcome to episode 23 of Restoring the Republic, or the Christmas Cramnibus. I mean, look at this thing, 1,500 pages. Oh my goodness, and look, we even put a bow in it for you. Look, this thing is so full of pork that even Scrooge and the Grinch are happy about it. This is unbelievable. Here we are. It's almost Christmas Eve. We're getting ready to go home. Funding runs out on the 20th. What do they put in here? Of course, there's a $380 billion for the CR, but they're going to relocate an NFL football stadium for Washington, D.C. Hey, I got a question. What about the 10 million people that have invaded our country illegal? How about we relocate them? What about the 1,000 murderers from illegal that are here illegally that should be relocated out?
These are all very good questions. When we come back, we have even more good questions. 1,500 pages? I'll tell you what, I'm with Vivek Ramaswamy. Let's do one page. Let's continue. All that page says is, let's change that date from December 20th to March 31st. That's all. One page. Back after this. I'm Michael Patrick Leahy.
Hey there, this is Lenny McGill, founder and CEO of the Glock Store. As a proud sponsor of this show, you may have heard Michael Patrick Leahy mention us a few times over the past 4 years. But today, it's me on the radio telling you how pleased we are to be associated with Michael Patrick Leahy and his dedication to the highest levels of professional journalism. Michael Patrick Leahy has been threatened with jail time in bringing the true facts about that Nashville Covenant shooting to his listening audience. Michael Patrick Leahy, you keep doing what you're doing, and we here at the Glock Store will keep sponsoring your show for the good of Nashville and the entire country. And I'm personally inviting all of your listeners to come visit and shoot at the Glock Store. It's where Michael Patrick Leahy learned to shoot a gun for the first time and where he bought his own personal Glock 19. I'm Lenny McGill, founder and CEO of the Glock Store here in Nashville, just minutes from the airports, worth the drive from anywhere, and a proud sponsor of Michael Patrick Leahy and the Tennessee Star Report.
Welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. Now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
Welcome back, and a reminder, our phone number here, if you want to call, and we know that a couple of people have tried to call in on John's phone number, John Frederick's number. We haven't worked the technology out for a phone number to John to come to our show. So for now, call this number, 615-649-8477, 615-649-8477. I know we had a caller from out west in Oregon who's trying to get through. 615-649-8477. All right, let's go to one of the elements of this ridiculous continuing resolution is a raise for members of Congress from $170,000 a year to, I think, $240,000 a year, a $70,000 raise. Dick Durbin, Democrat senator from Illinois, was asked about the raise. Here he is on clip 11.
Members are giving themselves a pay raise. Do you guys deserve a pay raise?
Well, that's news to me. It's good news. You know, what has it been, 10 years or 14 years and no COLA, no change at all? I think it's about time.
People look at the performance of Congress and say, why should we give them more money?
What about the media? Think about that for a second.
We're not paid by public money.
I know you're not, but I mean, half of your listeners are not there anymore. You're still getting the same paycheck? What's going on?
That illustrates to you the problem with these guys in Congress. First, does anyone believe that Dick Durbin doesn't know that this continuing resolution, pork-filled bill, has a raise from $170,000 a year to $240,000 a year for members of Congress? He knows. He probably put it in there. I don't know, but, you know. Also, all this self-righteous, oh, you haven't had a raise in so many years. Look, there is a huge, huge problem with the performance of Congress. Huge. And a lot of it, I'll talk a little bit about state legislatures. And the state legislatures that are the most effective. The state legislature that is the most effective is really a part-time state legislature, like the ones we have here in Tennessee. And once you get full-time, you're just like disconnected with the people. Look, I would say this. Here's my idea for Congress. You ready? You can keep their salary at $170,000. Don't give them a raise, but only allow them to be in session from January until June. How about that? Get all your work done then. All right. Okay. The continuing resolution just fell apart. Here is Guy Benson on Fox News last night, clip 7, talking about that.
Cleared from the decks now under Biden, so he doesn't have to deal with that headache, and the Congress wouldn't under his next administration. You used the words life support to describe this CR, the continuing resolution. I think it's cooked. I think it's absolutely dead at this point. You're seeing a lot of sort of mainstream, more establishment type Republicans on the Hill coming out.
If they're going to change it. It's dead in its current form.
Yep, in its current form, it is dead. Whether they change it, whether they attach a debt ceiling increase, whether they make it a clean CR and see if the Democrats will shoot that down, the blame game would change a little bit under that circumstance. I think we will see significant movement. But what was put out earlier is not, or I guess came out yesterday, the language, That is not going to be the law.
Yeah, it's not going to be the law. And look, what is a clean CR? A clean CR simply says, all the money that we spent at the level that we spent between October 1st and December 20th, we're just going to keep that up. That CR that passed late September was like 20 pages. This one is like 1,500 pages. Why do we have a CR? Because Congress doesn't do its job. It's supposed to do a full fiscal year budget going through regular order in each subcommittee and then committee and then up to the floor vote on each topic. They haven't done that in years and years and years. That's on them. Now, what's interesting about this, look at the timing. So the new Congress that was just elected in November will be sworn in on January 3rd in Washington, D.C. That will have a majority of Republicans in the Senate. I don't think it would be terrible, in my view. Right now we've got a majority of Democrats in the Senate, and they're trying to put all this junk in there. I don't think it'd be terrible if the government shut down on December 20th, and then when the new Congress is sworn in on January 3rd, let them vote on it January 4th, right? And then you can have what's called a clean continuing resolution. Actually, you just need one page. Vivek Ramaswamy said, okay, in our previous resolution, we continued funding until December 20th, 2024. Just add one line. We are changing the bill we passed back in September that put us to December 20th. Let's just let's put it to March 31st. That would pass. Get all the Republicans to sign off on that, and you can get it done. Now, the problem would be, right now, with a 51-49 Senate, wouldn't pass the Senate. Okay, fine. Have the House passed a one-page continuing resolution to keep the same level of funding up to March 31st. Send it back to the Senate and let them be the ones to turn it down. Who are you going to blame for the shutdown then? Huh? Who are you going to blame? I think I'd blame Chucky Schumer. That's who I do. But, that's how I'd look at it. I don't know if that's how Mike Johnson's looking at it. Now, Mike Johnson has a problem because when he put this deal together, he did not talk to conservative members of the Republican caucus. He did not talk to moderate members of the Republican conference. He talked to the minority leader on the Democrat side. So this is basically a Democrat Christmas tree wish list. Thomas Massey, who was basically the guy who started this going against Mike Johnson, has called for his resignation. He says he's not going to vote for him. Here we go. Clip 5, Thomas Massey.
Well, it's too late to do a motion to vacate. People should have been behind that this summer. And there's a vote on January 3rd. All of my Republican colleagues who are belly aching today, are they going to vote for Mike Johnson on January 3rd? Those are the people you need to ask. I'm not voting for him.
There you go. Thomas Massey not voting for it. I think we have a caller on the line here. Oh, we don't. We had a caller, but don't have a caller. Okay. Our friend from Oregon just didn't make it. Okay. So let's go now to Marsha Blackburn. We'll go with clip 17, see what Marsha Blackburn had to say about this. Clip 17, Marsha Blackburn. She's actually started to do, I've seen a lot of members of Congress do these very quick sort of walking videos. And this particular one, she does in her office, which has a whole bunch of Tennessee guitars in it. I think it's great. Clip 17, Marsha Blackburn.
All the hubbub in D.C. has been about getting this continuing resolution and passing it and keeping the government open. But this 1,500-page bill, when you look at it, all it's going to do is do a big plus-up of the government and fund a lot of programs that have really kind of outlived their usefulness. And then DOJ will come in and DOJ will make some cuts. Let's not do this. Let's start DOJ now and really cut the government, not have fake cuts.
Hey, I think that's great. Remember, people look at Marsha, and a lot of people who haven't come in who didn't live in the state of Tennessee back in 2000. who might think that that Marcia is not, quote, conservative enough. Oh, she's very conservative. And you want to look at how and why I know that? Because there's a reason we don't have a state income tax in the state of Tennessee. And the reason has to do with activists like Ben Cunningham, talk radio hosts like the late, great Phil Valentine, as well as my former co-broadcaster, Steve Gill, and the Killer Bees, 3 women who were in the state legislature at that time. Diane Black, who's ran for governor and is retired now, and May Beavers, who's now retired from the state legislature, and Marsha Blackburn. And they stood up against the Republican incumbent governor, who wanted to impose an income tax on the state. And they said, no way. And that's when we had all the horn honking, people circling the state capitol. And Marsha Blackburn was at the forefront of that. So that's a strong conservative record, and that's the same record that she's 24 years later pushing on Capitol Hill. And I think it's just fantastic. Hey, when we come back, Steve Cortez with the League of American Workers. Wall Street, not impressed with what the bureaucrats and the legislators in Washington are doing with the budget. We'll talk about that with Steve in just a minute.
My fellow Americans, I have to tell you about my good friends at D.T. McCall & Sons. They have furniture and appliances and a lot more. They've been family-owned in Middle Tennessee for over 100 years, and they're not going to rip you off. No hidden charges, no delivery charges, no charges for all of the crazy things. These are sick people at the lumber yards. These are very sick people. They charge you for cords and hoses and haul off. They charge you for all of these things. They call them hidden charges. It's the type of surprise that you don't want to see. It's like an October surprise, but it's worse. D.T. McCall & Sons, they're not going to do that. They're great people. They're going to give you a great deal. With locations in Lebanon, Carthage, Lafayette, Cookeville, and Franklin, D.T. McCall & Sons will give you the deal of your life. Check them out today or go to dtmccalls.com.
Impersonator not endorsed by Donald Trump.
Welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. Now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
And welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. We won't have Steve Cortez on with us today. We had a little scheduling goof up on this, so that's sort of on us. Okay, yeah. Actually, I will tell you who made the error there. It was not Steve Cortez. It was yours truly. He was on before, so I got it now. I understand. Entirely my error. My apologies to Steve Cortez. I do want to take this time, however, and I want to talk about I want to talk about something entirely different, which has to do with what's going on with Fani Willis. This is quite interesting now. Remember the story about Fani Willis and all of the lawsuits that she was planning? Yeah, well, here we go. We've got a breaking story here that Fani Willis, in a stunning victory for the president-elect, has been disqualified from prosecuting the criminal case against Donald Trump. The ruling comes from an appeals court, after an appeals court in Georgia earlier this month canceled a hearing scheduled on the issue. This is by A.R. Hoffman at the New York Sun. And so it's, quite a story. And let me just kind of get to this here for a second. Yeah, it's quite a story and quite compelling as well. So what happened with Fani Willis is she hired this guy, Nathan Wade. She wanted to go after the president. She said what she would be doing would be going after the president, right? And you've watched all of this stuff. It's not good at all. Let me just kind of get to this here for a second. We're going to switch here to just the news. And yeah, Georgia's appeals court disqualifies Fani Willis from Trump election. The Georgia Court of Appeals voted 2-1 on Thursday. That's today. So this broke this morning to disqualify Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis from the 2022 election interference case involving President-elect Donald Trump. The court did not go as far as throwing out the indictment, however. Here's what they said, quote, after carefully considering the trial court's findings in its order, we conclude it erred by failing to disqualify District Attorney Willis and her office. This from Judges Todd Markle and Trenton Brown, who wrote in their majority ruling. Quote, we reversed the trial court's denial of the appellant's motion to disqualify D.A. Willis and her office as we conclude that the elected district attorney is wholly disqualified from this case. The assistant district attorneys, whose only power to prosecute a case is derived from the constitutional authority of the district attorney who appointed them, they have no authority to proceed. The judges also wrote that the remedy crafted by the trial court to prevent an ongoing appearance of impropriety did nothing to address the appearance of impropriety that existed at times when D.A. Willis was exercising her broad pretrial discretion about who to prosecute and what charges to bring. they had one dissenter. His name was Judge Benjamin Land. Now, so who's going to prosecute the case now? It's not going to be, the DA can't do it, the assistant DA. So it's the Attorney General of Georgia going to do it? I don't think so. I don't think so at all. This is a huge victory, not just for President Trump, but for all of the various electors and others that are involved in that. And I think that our friend Jeff Clark and I think John Eastman were involved in that as well. So I think that's good news for both of them. And we are delighted with that. I think that's just outstanding news. Every time you turn around, with the election of Donald Trump, we have seen a great victory in court. I mean, the wins, what do you say? We can't stop winning. We can't stop winning. Are you tired of winning? I'm not tired of winning one bit. I am totally not tired of winning. And so as a result, I think, let's just do a roundup of where we stand with all the litigation that's been involved with President Trump. The felony counts on the bookkeeping errors, right? That is in abeyance. Now, the judge there, Juan Merchan, this is from, Manhattan. That one, he hasn't totally dismissed it. They want to, the way they put it is they want to hold it in abeyance for 4 years while Trump is president and then bring it up later as if, he didn't exist for those 4 years and then suddenly started to exist again. That's beyond ridiculous. The appeals courts, they're going to end up rejecting that. There's no question about that. So you got that one. Then the federal cases, remember? I mean, we go down the list of these cases so that the bookkeeping thing is ultimately, it's not a problem right now. 34 felony counts on bookkeeping stuff that's totally made up. Not a good idea at all. So we got that going on. And that will go away in about a year or so. Then we have the two federal cases. Remember they raided Mar-a-Lago, right, on a documents case. They wanted to, Jack Smith, special prosecutor, wanted to prosecute that. That's gone away. In addition, Jack Smith wanted to prosecute in Washington, D.C. for involvement in J6. That's gone away. Jack Smith is going to resign. He said he's going to resign. In fact, if I'm Jack Smith, I'm a little worried about actually being prosecuted for a wrongful prosecution. So that case has gone away. What other cases do we have going on right now? Well, we've got back in New York State, you've got the Letitia James Attorney General case, right? In that instance, think about this. The judge there, Judge Ergeron, said, well, they put up, Mar-a-Lago as part of his net worth, and Mar-a-Lago is only worth $17 million. A postage stamp on the beach in West Palm Beach is worth $17 million. Mar-a-Lago, at the time, was probably worth, $200, $300 million, maybe more. I mean, one thing Trump knows is how to take a property and turn it into a lot of money. Mar-a-Lago is the place to be, and particularly right now. And so they've said, well, yeah, the bank, loaned you some money and you paid it all back, and they wanted to do business with you again. But because you overstated your net worth by claiming that Mar-a-Lago was worth a couple $100 million when that's about what it's worth, we're going to charge you with fraud. And you're going to owe like $385 million. It's just ridiculous. So that thing is, it's hanging out there. But on appeal, that's going to be gone. So what cases against the president are outstanding? Well, the only case really is this crazy E. Jean Carroll case. And remember that story. E. Jean Carroll, who I think, the president, I think back in the 90s at some point, the only time the connection is there was one event where they had a picture taken together, right? But E. Jean Carroll claimed And she just claimed this, when did she claim this? She claimed this just a couple years ago, right? She claimed that in the 1990s, she can't remember the exact year, 92, 93, 94, she was in a dressing room in a big department store. I think it's called, Bergman? And while she was in the dressing room, she claims Donald Trump raped her. But she can't remember which year it was. And she didn't file a police report at that time. Okay. So the state of New York has a statute of limitations on these kinds of things. But in order to get Donald Trump, the Democrat New York State Legislature passed a special bill that said any claims of sexual abuse and assault can be filed. We're going to get rid of the statute of limitations, and he can come back and file it in the next 2 years. And so she filed this case. Now, cases like this are very expensive. And so somebody has to fund that case, right? Who funded the case? A left-wing billionaire by the name of Reid Hoffman. Heard that name before? Yeah, he's a guy who used to hang out with Jeffrey Epstein. I guess there are a lot of people like that. But so Hoffman funded this case, and it was probably, 5 million, 10 million in legal fees. And they brought it before a jury in Manhattan. It's civil case, right? So the jury then hears all the testimony. And this is not criminal, it's civil, in which she's asking for money. They had the option of determining whether the president was guilty of rape or sexual abuse. Well, these are very different things, right? Rape involves, under New York law, a rape involves actual penetration, and sexual abuse could just be the touching of a private part. And they said, no, he was not guilty of rape. But not liable for rape. Liable is the word because it's a civil case. But they said he was indeed liable for sexual abuse. Okay. Then the judge said, well, under the jury, in his statement afterwards, the judge in that case said, well, the jury found sexual abuse, but, under that sexual abuse is really what people understand as rape. Okay. I don't know if the judge did that. It's kind of crazy for a judge. That's what George Stephanopoulos then hung on, and when he multiple times said on ABC in an interview with Nancy Mace that President Trump was found liable for rape. Well, it's not true. He said it 10 times. The president sued. Guess what? ABC settled. They owe him $16 million. Stephanopoulos owes $1 million of that, I think. And it's got to go to building what? building the great Donald J. Trump Library, which would probably be down in Mar-a-Lago, I would think, right? After his presidency. All right, there we go. We'll be back with more. Going to talk about some very weird situations having to do with this Madison, Wisconsin 15-year-old school killer. Back after this.
Welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. Now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
Welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. Okay, this Madison, Wisconsin 15-year-old girl who killed a teacher and killed a fellow student before she killed herself on Monday, the story gets weirder and weirder. Go to TennesseeStar.com right now. And one of our top stories there is this. I'll just read it. It broke last night, and we were all over it. And everything about this is weird. Everything. There's so many things that are wrong. So many things that shouldn't have happened. But here we go. Headline. This is by Tom Pappert, our great Tom Pappert. California judge orders guns taken from man who allegedly planned bombing with Wisconsin school shooter, 15-year-old Natalie Rupnow. Well, that's weird, but it gets weirder. News emerged on Wednesday, late Wednesday, that Alexander Pfaffendorf, yeah, that's really his guy's name, of Carlsbad, California. That's in Southern California. I think Carlsbad is like near the ocean between San Diego and L.A., I think, was served with a restraining order under California's red flag laws on Tuesday after being questioned by the FBI after investigators learned he allegedly communicated with Natalie Rupnow, the 15-year-old who police say killed one student, one teacher, at the Abundant Life Christian School in Madison, Wisconsin, before her ending her life. She communicated with her to plan an attack on a government building. Okay, so let's just think about it. So this guy, 20 years old, in Carlsbad, California, apparently sometime before Monday at 11 a.m. Central Time, when this 15-year-old girl had a pistol, which she apparently lied to her father about, according to one document. That's not been verified yet, but may be quite accurate. So she took this pistol and she killed a student and a teacher and then herself. Apparently sometime before that, they were communicating. I don't know if it was over X or WhatsApp or whatever. So he's in California. And this is the weird part about it. According to CBS 8, 20-year-old Pfaffendorf admitted to the FBI that he and Rupnow discussed plans to, quote, arm himself with explosives and a gun, end quote, in order to, quote, target a government building. And basically they reported that the restraining order subsequently granted by a California judge on Tuesday stated that federal agents were able to view the messages this Pfaffendorf fellow allegedly exchanged with the killer. Now, what this story doesn't say is, okay, what messages? Were these direct messages purportedly private on X? Were they WhatsApp messages? We don't know. We do know that the killer, the girl, allegedly had an account on X, Twitter, and allegedly she followed about 11 or 12 people. Maybe this guy was one of them. We don't know for sure. And we do know that at about 10:30 Central Time on Monday, half an hour before she went into her killing spree, she uploaded something to a Google Doc from her account. It's password protected. We didn't get it. But we suspect, now this is where it gets even weirder, the provenance of this thing. According to a Canadian journalist, Anna Stans, with whom I spoke, or whom I communicated over X in direct messages Monday evening, she identified, wait for it, a 17-year-old German boy who purportedly had a 2-year friendship with the killer, and she persuaded him to share with her what he purports to be a 6-page PDF file manifesto that the killer uploaded or sent to him via WhatsApp about half an hour before she went on in her killing spree. Okay, you following all that? How weird is this? Okay, now, what leads me to believe that there may be some credibility to this whole story that the 17-year-old boy in Germany was communicating with her. She's now communicating online with a 20-year-old in California. Think about this. What's going on with these kids? And what are these communications? Very weird. So, CBS 8 reported yesterday in Carlsbad, California, a neighbor saw a, quote, black gun box, end quote, removed from Alexander Paffendorf's residence after the order was signed. After the California courts approved the seizure of weapons from the alleged associate of Natalie Rupnow, Madison Police Department Chief Barnes told the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel that he had no information to offer. Okay, so what are we getting from these guys? What are we getting from the Madison, Wisconsin Police Department? We're not getting anything. I mean, we're not getting anything, and it's very disturbing. So Barnes recently said that the Madison Police Department was, quote, still working to authenticate, end quote, the purported manifesto left by Rupnow, allegedly sent to this boyfriend in Germany. Barnes said the department was working to determine the origin of the document, but cautioned the media against sharing it. Potential, wait for it. What do you think he called it? I can hear you say it. He's calling it misinformation. I don't know. I mean, we have it. We haven't published it. But look, we're doing the responsible thing. We're asking the Madison, Wisconsin Police Department to verify it. They haven't yet. And I think they easily could. They're stonewalling. Why? Inquiring minds want to know. Okay, we're going to take a break. John Fredericks is going to be on for about 15 minutes, and then Carol Swain will be here in studio with us at 10:18, from 10:18 till 11. We look forward to it. She's got a new book about the gay affair. Claudine Gay. Back after this. And John Fredericks, then Carol Swain.